In this video, I will introduce the first 5 learning objectives of this chapter. Please keep in mind that the video is intended only as an introduction to the material in this chapter, and in this way, it is not comprehensive. One student once noted to Professor Rees that a test question was not covered in a video. For this reason, Professor Rees emphasizes the importance of reading the textbook in addition to reviewing the SWAY and the embedded videos. The first 5 objectives for this chapter are: 1. Understand the skills and qualities needed by investigators. 2. Identify the objectives of crime scene investigation. 3. Distinguish between the preliminary and follow-up investigations. 4. Explain the importance of crime scene coordination. 5. Explain the factors that may affect crime scene processing plans. To effectively combat crime, societies must rely on skilled investigators and maintain public trust in the criminal justice system. Achieving this requires practitioners who embody essential qualities such as strong ethics, clear communication, initiative, objectivity, open-mindedness, and resourcefulness. Every case must be handled thoroughly, impartially, and with a commitment to accuracy. This responsibility extends to conducting both preliminary and follow-up investigations while recognizing the vital role physical evidence plays in the pursuit of justice. The value of such evidence can be undermined not only by a failure to locate, properly collect, mark, and preserve it, but also by drawing inaccurate or unsupported conclusions from its analysis. Understanding crime, the law, and types of offenses is essential for a criminal investigator. A crime is the commission of an act prohibited by law or the omission of an act required by the penal code of a political state. In most states, a felony is an offense punishable by death or by imprisonment for 1 year or more. Lesser offenses, known as misdemeanors, are typically punishable by a fine, often not exceeding $500, and/or imprisonment for up to 1 year. Some states also recognize a third category, violations, such as criminal littering, which are punishable only by a fine, usually no more than $250. In the search for truth, one of the most important skills an investigator can possess is the ability to communicate effectively with people from all walks of life, from corporate executives to those experiencing homelessness. Every investigation carries significant responsibilities, and these become especially critical during the arrest of a violent felony suspect. In such cases, investigators may be forced to consider the use of deadly force. Legally, they cannot act prematurely. Tactically, they cannot afford to react even a fraction of a second too late when confronted with a threat to their lives. Success in these moments depends on the investigator's ability to evaluate information accurately and objectively, while exercising sound judgment in every decision made. Your text outlines many qualities of a successful criminal investigator. Professor Rees would also add the 10 essential skills from your syllabus to the 14 listed on page 45 of the text. Which of these skills do you feel you need to strengthen? None of us possess every skill or have all the answers. There is always room for growth. As the proverb reminds us, you can teach the wise, but not the fool. The major stages of a criminal investigation are illustrated in Figure 3:1 of your text. While officers carry many important responsibilities, their foremost duty is to protect human life, including their own, while approaching each situation with objectivity and an open mind. On so-called routine calls, law enforcement agencies dispatch patrol units according to the circumstances, considering factors such as whether the incident is in progress or already completed, the potential level of danger, and the immediate needs at the scene. The term preliminary investigation refers to the actions taken by the first officer to arrive at the scene of a crime following its detection and reporting. In contrast, the follow-up investigation encompasses the continued police effort from the time the initial incident report is filed until the case is prepared for prosecution. Your text provides a good summary of procedures to consider upon receiving information about a crime, the initial response by officers, and safety procedures that should be used when arriving at the crime scene. The preliminary investigation begins with careful attention to dispatch and initial information, supported by intermittent field notes that document the condition and placement of people and objects at the scene. Notes, however, must wait until higher priority tasks, such as securing medical aid for the injured, are completed. While many calls accurately reflect what occurred, officers must remember that 911 callers may be confused, traumatized, under the influence, or even deceptive, and that situations can change quickly before all units arrive. Policies may allow officers to respond to emergencies without lights or sirens, but they must proceed directly to their assigned call unless faced with extraordinary circumstances. Upon approach, officers should act cautiously, observing, listening, and evaluating for hazards such as secondary explosives or chemical, biological, or radiological threats. Parking too close to the scene and remaining in the vehicle places officers at a tactical disadvantage. Throughout the response, officers must follow departmental policies regarding requests for specialized assistance, including crime scene technicians or support units. If a suspect is present, the officer should make the arrest, search the individual, and seize any weapons, drugs, contraband, or other evidence. During a response, officers must prioritize saving lives over preserving physical evidence. They should quickly assess the victim's injuries and request any necessary medical assistance, typically from EMTs, while pointing out potential evidence and asking that contact with it be minimized. Officers should gather as much information as possible from the victim before transport and ensure that EMTs do not clean or disturb the scene, which could destroy evidence. It is also important to record the names and contact information of attending medical personnel. If there is a possibility the victim may die, officers should attempt to obtain a dying declaration. In some cases, officers may also need to rescue or provide first aid to suspects. Officers should quickly identify and secure the boundaries of the crime scene, including any possible approaches or escape routes. Maintaining control of the scene is a critical part of the preliminary investigation. Potential combatants should be separated to prevent violence, arrestees kept apart to avoid coordinating stories, and witnesses separated to preserve independent recollections. Physical barriers should be established to protect the scene, prevent contamination or theft of evidence, and ensure officer safety. Finally, a crime scene entry log should be maintained to track all personnel entering and leaving the area. When possible, a BOLO or APB should include detailed information about the suspects and their vehicle. This includes number of suspects, age, race, sex, height, weight, build, coloration, hair, facial hair, clothing, scars, tattoos, jewelry, deformities, prostheses, accents, and weapons. Vehicle descriptions should note make, model, year, color, distinctive features, damage, or modifications. A prompt initial BOLO, often called a preliminary pickup order, is critical to quickly alert other units. A neighborhood canvass seeks witnesses who may have seen, heard, or smelled something relevant, while a vehicle canvass records vehicles in the area as additional investigative leads. In smaller departments, the responding officer may act as the crime scene technician, identifying, documenting, collecting, packaging, and securing evidence, while maintaining an unbroken chain of custody. In larger agencies, specialized sworn or civilian crime scene technicians handle processing. Depending on the crime's severity, plainclothes investigators may assist. The first responding officer is responsible for briefing incoming personnel, assisting with scene control, turning over the crime scene log, and remaining until relieved. The officer assigned to a call must prepare an incident or offense report based on their field notes. These notes can become a crucial part of the investigation during court proceedings, making careful documentation essential. As lawyers often say, if it isn't written down, it didn't happen. Inaccurate or incomplete reports can lead to serious consequences, including damage to your credibility and, in extreme cases, jeopardize your career. All crime scene searches are guided by Locard's exchange principle: there is something to be found. Crime scenes vary in the amount of evidence expected. For example, a murder scene typically yields more evidence than a theft from a yard. At its core, a crime scene is where the offense was committed, but a criminal incident may involve multiple scenes. The primary scene is where the offense began, while secondary scenes encompass connected events. Crime scenes can also be classified by size and focus. Macroscopic scenes include the larger context, such as buildings, vehicles, and bodies. Microscopic scenes focus on specific objects and evidence, including weapons, hairs, fibers, bite marks, shoe and tire impressions, and bodily fluids. Additional classifications consider the type of crime, location, indoor-outdoor, condition of the scene, organized or disorganized, and nature of the criminal act, active or passive. For outdoor scenes, further distinctions include whether evidence or a body is on the surface, buried, or submerged. Work at a crime scene is divided into three primary functions: overall coordination, forensic services, and investigative services. The lead investigator holds overall responsibility for the scene. This includes conducting a visual walkthrough to assess the situation and develop a preliminary investigation plan. Coordination is key and is typically maintained by moving through the scene and overseeing activities. The lead investigator also requests additional resources as needed, such as obtaining search warrants, calling the medical examiner or coroner to examine a body, using specialized equipment to search the scene, transporting vehicles to impound, arranging aerial photography, and consulting experts like forensic psychologists. Forensic services are managed by the senior representative of the department's crime lab or crime scene unit. They process the scene using investigation kits or larger equipment from a crime scene van. Nearly all law enforcement agencies now rely on digital cameras for documentation. Investigative services include interviewing witnesses, conducting and recording neighborhood and vehicle canvasses, and performing field interrogations of suspects in custody. Professor Reese, and I hope this video has been helpful. Once again, use it as an introduction to the material in this way and the textbook, not as a substitute. Have a wonderful day.